Hey guys, welcome back.
Welcome back is right. I can't believe that we're already week two through. Like,
I know.
you know,
I'm gonna miss it next week. There's no show next week.
I know, no show, no show. We got a little break.
But the following week we got 2 nights. So I'm excited.
Two
Plus
Monday
Haley and
nights.
Derek. I'm so
Yes.
excited.
I have a feeling that is going to be so extremely emotional. Like he was already emotional.
I'm putting this on the record. Emmy win for Derek. Another one.
Probably,
Just saying.
probably.
At least I'll make him my own Emmy.
I mean, but like here's the thing, like Emmy wins, a lot of times they come from like a heart and soul kind of place. And like I can't even imagine what they're going to put and leave on that dance floor with it being her first time back since
Right.
everything that happened. So,
At least there, she has already danced. Like I got to go see her dance once
mhm.
everything was cleared and she went back on tour. And like I was in tears when I got to see her again. So it was magical and she's the nicest person. If you have never gotten the chance to meet Haley, sweetest girl, sweetest family that she came from. And just she has a true passion for life and dance. And I just love watching her dance because you see that passion just exploding from her.
Definitely, definitely. So it'll be exciting to see them back. So,
Yes.
all right, you ready to do this?
So ready.
Let's go.
Okay. So our first couple was Jen and Sasha, and they hit the tango. Um, Incredible. For the fact that like I know we heard the music, but they didn't hear the music at all. All they got is like the beat 1, 2, 3, 4 lead in, and they had nothing. So the fact that like Sasha and Jen were able to keep the beat with imaginary music and then it popping back in and like pretending like it never like didn't throw, she stayed in character. And like for someone who has absolutely no dance experience, being the first person out there, that could really throw somebody.
Definitely.
And like it did it. So I props already on that one. Um,
Totally agree.
I would agree, like she really has to work on the frame, pull the shoulders down and back, and like, you know,
That
keeping
front
it
elbow,
that
gotta
elbow.
really,
It's really hard,
it is hard.
um, because like it's very different in like this part, like to keep it there and like I don't think people always realize like the amount of control that you have to have. Um,
And it just feels weird. It feels weird in your shoulder blades. Like your shoulder blades are so much more tucked together than there used to be.
right.
So you imagine that, and then your elbow is gonna feel weird. You know what I mean? Like
And then on
it's
top of
just
it,
not
your
letting you do
head
that
and
for a minute.
tilts and body contact and yeah.
There's a
Um,
lot of that.
I really struggle with the scores
I
this
do too.
this night. Like you and I were texting even a little bit, and I know like Carrie Ann even said like each person has their own 10, but you also have to look at like I think like the scope of the show
Right.
too. And every judge judges different. Um, and it's really hard for me to like look at someone like Anna and Ezra, or even like Reggie, who got sixes and Jen got a six.
Right.
Like it
It doesn't
doesn't
really fit. And
match.
especially if you consider everything that led up to, the start of the dance and all of that and the way that she handled that so effortlessly was amazing. So I totally agree. I really do not think that 19 was enough.
Yeah, I think I also think the first person, and I find that like when I judge musicals and stuff like that, usually the first person I find I always have to go back and reassess for me because I know like you try to kind of guess and gauge what you're going at and then like do so. Like I have learned as a judge, really pay attention to the first and then go back and reassess. But like here you have to judge on the spot. Um, because you don't know where the other group is. You can't measure it really until you see like a good amount. And
Hmm.
that first spot to me, I think is the hardest position for both judges and the couple that goes because it can really like your score could get totally wonky, either too high or too low. And it's a lot of times judges tend to reserve themselves from going too high and you end up judging too harshly, I think.
Yep, totally agree. Totally agree. So, well, let's hope for some, maybe some little higher scores when we come back because I do think that she deserves it. I do think that, we're gonna see that spike, and I hope it comes. So,
I agree.
yeah. All right, moving on. Eric and Britt are next with a waltz, The
This
Godfather.
this fit Eric much better. It's a slower dance. His heel leads weren't perfect. Um, it's hard again. I do get where Derek was going, but like to me, I thought he had huge improvement from last week,
Hmm.
and like his score was lower from I don't know his overall score. Hold on, I have it up here. Okay, his overall score last week was 15.
Yeah, 15 this week.
And it's
So, yeah.
15 the same. But like
Same.
Derek's score was lower than
Hmm.
'cause he gave
Hmm.
him a 5 last week.
Yep.
Um, and I really struggled because there was such huge improvement in it.
Totally agree.
Technically, was it perfect? No, but he moved a lot more and it just
And
fit
he
him
and
a
he
lot
gave a
better.
little more. Yeah, he gave a little more
Yeah,
of like a content in there, a little more of that waltz feel. Yeah, we got to work on like some level changes, when they're appropriate. I call them spider hands, like
yeah.
like jazz hands, like is that right? We have these jazz hands, but like in ballroom, I refer to them as like spider hands. Just because, just watching for that. But I mean, that's like those are things that will come with time. You can't focus on all those nitty gritty details when you're just trying to get a routine down. um but I do think it was better than last week, so I don't know
I
what you're
agree.
talking about. Scores were a little strange.
Yeah. Okay, then Danny and Whitney with the jive.
Oh yes, this was like the fun thing about this was my dad watched some of Dancing with the Stars this week with mom, which he almost never does. And he was calling me and commenting on the football player. Didn't remember what his name was, but he was so good. I was like,
He's
I agree, he really
very
was.
he's so light on his feet and like
Yes.
that's it's part of like being a football player and we even talked about a lot of them have a little bit of dance training because it helps their agility for football.
Ah,
um but like it's why they do so well on this
right,
show, and like
right.
those flicks were sharp, they were clean. At one
Yeah,
point
I think
I
that
know
go ahead.
he tripped and that like there was that one little like jump
Yep.
and then like he was a little ahead of the music I thought at the very like beginning of it.
Uh-huh.
um
Uh-huh.
but like he got back on,
Yeah.
and he's so good and this was like a perfect song for him I thought.
I totally agree. I think the biggest problem with football players that we often will see is that, you imagine football players when they're warming up, they do a lot of footwork that is turned in a lot of times. Like if you imagine doing like grapevine
Hmm.
runs. And so their feet often are turned inward. And we're seeing a lot of that, as he's flicking his feet, those feet are turned in instead of either
Hmm.
turned out or at least facing forward. Um, but that's pretty consistent with, just like I said, just with their training in general. Um, but picking up right after that little hiccup, kept going, and that's a huge thing. And I do think the jive fit him really well. So,
I do too.
mhm.
And we had Anna and Ezra.
Yeah, do we even have to talk about it? She's gone. She went home.
I'm
She
very
went
glad
home.
she went home.
Ezra, man, if you ever listen to this, you are amazing.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no other
um
way to put it.
the thing for her is you like her or not, the thing is Ezra gives her great content, great routines, and a lot of it all just depends on your attitude and what are you
You got
bringing
it.
to the ballroom. And she had no commitment in her movement. She wasn't even truly trying, I truly felt. And I know we kind of have to quickly touch on it. I feel like we need to, is the comment at the end of the show.
Yep.
I've heard multiple takes on this of when they say, "What are you going to take away from the show?" Nothing. And like I've heard people say, "Well, from what she just went through and trying to clear her name, it's a automatic response of nothing. I'm taking nothing from the show for physically." But like I don't know. Clearly to me, you could tell that that was not what the intention of being asked. It was, what are you emotionally taking away from the show? And when she said nothing, it was so rude. And one of the pro dancers, Vale, I think said it the best, is it's a very loving atmosphere. And the thing is it should be reciprocated. And what her pro dancer gave to her and all that time, all that energy, like he's handled this whole situation with class, and I like am so proud, and that's where I'm gonna leave it because
Yeah.
she's gone and we don't have to talk about it anymore.
No, I know. I mean, you said it well, but like the thing is, if you go back and you watch, you watch her dance from this week, it does like there are smirks in there. There are like moments where you can tell she was kind of like, all right, this is actually kind of fun. Like you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can't understand is if you want people to like you, if you want people to forgive you for everything that you did, why would you not take this as a perfect opportunity to just be like, you know what? That was actually kind of fun. Like,
Yeah.
thank you for this. Like that's not a hard thing to do. But at the same time to be vulnerable when you are trying to keep this persona on is hard. So I hate to say it, I am glad that she's gone and that we don't have to worry about it anymore. And Ezra, you better get a second shot because I want to see more.
And I hope they give you like a really good partner too.
I
Like,
hope so too.
yeah, front runner
Fingers crossed. We can only hope. All right, moving on. Chandler and Brandon.
with the
Queen
rock. Uh,
Barbie.
it, beautiful. Like I think if it was later on in the season, it would have even had higher scores. Again, it was all
Exactly.
eights. Um, Technically, there's a few things here and there, just from dance to this. I heard Sharna talking about her opinions on it. Sharna Burgess, who is a pro.
Hmm.
And I have to say, I truly agree with what she said. 100% is the thing that Brandon needs to do with Chandler now is beautiful dancer, but what's going to make her stand out is putting a story to her dance.
Hmm.
And that's what's going to make it memorable. Because yes, this was a beautiful dance, but what is the dance that we probably all are going to take away from the show? It's probably Ilona's, which was kind of
Hmm.
funny. It was quirky with like the flip of the dance and Dirty Dancing. There was a story to it.
Right.
And you think of past seasons, that's I think where Derek made his mark in choreography is using it to tell a story. And or like Mark Ballas too. And I'm pretty much quoting what Sharna said, but I really think that is truly what is needed to take them to the next level to really get the public involved and invested in them.
Yeah, well, I have to say, like, that's what I like about this partnership is that I feel like it is challenging Brandon in some ways that he has not had the opportunity
Mhm.
to really have yet. So that's what I really love about this is that it is going to challenge him to figure out, okay, how do I get her to those 30s and how do I get her to the end? What do I need to
And not
do as
and
a
then
partner?
again, it's not always the best dancer wins.
No, definitely not.
And that's why I like what Sharna said was you need to tell that story because that's what's going to get the public invested to get the votes.
Right, right. Definitely. And I mean, we saw that with, you're mentioning Derek, we saw that when he won with Kelly Pickler
Yeah.
over Zendaya.
Hmm.
I mean, Zendaya was clearly a better dancer. However, Derek and Kelly told stories week after week. Their dances go down in history.
Hmm.
They truly were some of
It's
the
what you
best.
remember. Like I remember like one or two of Zendaya's, but I
Yep.
remember like 90% of Kelly's.
Right. So you got to do it. So, I would love to see a little bit more fluidity, almost like that pushing through water, like get in the pool and like do the dance in the water and feel that pressure and feel that movement. I do think that'll also help her kind of get to that next level. But yeah. All right, I have a really strange question real fast. Can you hear this dog snoring?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. Okay, good. She's being really loud right now, and I was like trying to turn this to make sure. Okay. Anyway, continuing.
Um, Reginald and Emma. Okay, I don't know what it is. I adore Reggie. Like he is the grandpa of the group, but like he like you can just tell he's loving it. He's such a good person in and out, truly, and so sweet. And like I just he makes me smile. And I
Yes.
was so worried when he was like in the bottom three. And like we don't actually know if he was in the bottom three.
Right, right.
It was just the last three who were called. And I was like, no. So, because I really thought it was going to be him and Anna going home. And I was so happy that it wasn't.
I know, I know. And he was so relieved. Did you see the video of him like watching his reaction
Yeah.
later? It was like it was so humbling to just see him like in tears and just so excited.
I posted a video um that Emma posted. There were like five college girls that are like huge fan of Reggie and like they all cheered. And Emma showed Reggie that video and he was like so emotional from it. And like the fact that even though he's not the best dancer, but like the emotion and joy of that he's bringing to other people or that the dancing and movement is bringing to himself, it's just like a power to what dance can do. And it just makes my heart so happy and like I hope he sticks around because I just love him.
I know, I know. And it's always hard. It's hard to be the first ones to go home. It's hard, to be these first couple of weeks of going home. And also just the pressure and the hardness that it puts on your body to do this. So I hope that, that he does make it through another week here of practice and all of that. And and comes back strong because we got a tiny bit more content from last week to this week.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see now that we have a week off, kind of what we come back with. So yeah, but he's so much fun.
Then we had Steven and Riley with the Paso Doble. I like there were parts that were really good and like I almost felt I know this is don't get me wrong, guys. Stephen and Riley are my favorite. Like I want them to win. So, but I have to be honest in these reviews. Sometimes it felt very awkward to me and just some of the movements, like the power and stuff. Like it just didn't I didn't feel like this was his dance, like
No.
his strength. Like when he did the knee runs, I was like, "Oh, like that was awesome."
Uh-huh.
But like sometimes his frame was a little weird. Like it just,
Yep.
I don't know, it just didn't fit him the best, I
No.
thought.
I think a paso is so commanding, is so powerful and strong for a male. And I just don't think he's there yet when it comes to working with Riley. I think Riley still kind of takes over and is still kind of running things and doing all of that. And so yeah, it didn't really work for me. Like, I mean, there were points it was really bouncy when it shouldn't be bouncy. It should be
Yeah,
grounded and pushed down and like that kind of vibe. And I think at the end of the day, I think it really just comes down to like this power aspect of who's leading.
yeah,
And I just don't think he's quite there yet. And that's okay. That's totally fine. I hope that it comes because I mean we got Halloween week that'll be coming up in a few weeks here. And those dances a lot of times are done in paso and some of the
Well, now that
stronger
he's
dances
had
like
that
that.
dance, I guess unless they like do it as a redemption dance,
Right, right,
he won't have it again. So
right.
and like you will
It'll be
find too
interesting.
that certain dances fit different people better. Like
Always.
I'm not a ballerina. Never have been. It doesn't fit me. I trained in it, not my thing. Tap, much better at it. That's my strength. So like you find areas that that's your niche and like that just I don't think that was students.
No, no, definitely not. But that's okay. But I mean, it had moments.
Yeah, like and that's yeah, I agree. Joey and Jenna with the rumba. I
That
like
was
this.
I liked it. I think
He,
having Val as a visual was very helpful.
yes,
Um, yeah,
he could do a lot, and I think if Jenna also did that component of really having um a story for him, I think that would also assist in making him more memorable as well.
yeah.
Um, he's got potential. He can move his hips. They weren't always in a perfect figure eight,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
but he did move them, which is
I was gonna say, but that's
not
the
always
hard part.
easy for a boy.
No, it is not. And I really think when it comes down to the Roomba, it's one of those dances that is so like sultry, so like close to the other person. And I think a lot of times that can be really awkward, especially when the pro's partner is also a dancer.
Right.
So I think like having Val in the room being like, this is fine.
Hmm.
Yes, this is my wife, but it doesn't matter. Like, this
Right.
is our job. This is what we do. And I think that really helped him to just gain that confidence of like, all right, if he can do this, he's saying this is fine, I can do this.
Hmm.
And I think that was really helpful. And yeah, I'd like to see a little more of that flow from one to the next and not so much like here's this move. Um, but it was overall it was beautiful.
Yeah. Then we had Phaedra and Val.
Mhm.
Um, I thought it was good. It was not my favorite. Her feet, her foot, I was gonna say feet work, footwork needs a little work. For Foxtrot, what it is it goes heel lead, then you go on the ball of your foot, and then you roll down. And like it was not perfect of that rise and fall, which I think one of the judges commented on.
I
It
think
might have
so.
been
I
Derek.
think
It
you're
might have been
right.
Derek. But like it there needs to be more improvement in that. But again, she's not a dancer. Um, but I thought that this dance fit Phaedra a lot better than last week's.
Hmm.
Um, and I find usually some of the slower, more smooth dances tend to fit some of the older contestants better than the younger ones.
Yeah. I think my biggest concern with this was, or biggest problem with it was not so much the feet. For me, it was the neck. Like I felt like when she was in hold, it was so tense and so rigid that it felt like it was hard to like watch from the neck up.
See, I think she
Just
was
because
just
it
trying to
was
hold it in frame so much because
no, but it was
Vale is a
like it hurt. Like my
technician.
neck was like, wait.
Yeah, Vale is a technician, like with teaching choreography. Like he is very strict in how technical and like that
Right.
technique. So I think that that was her focus.
But it just felt so tense
Yeah.
rather than like nice and relaxed. So, for me that was a little distracting um just from it. But yeah, I mean, she's got some work. But you know what? At the same time, she loved this dance, she loved this movie and talking about dream girls and all that it meant to her. And I do think that helps that drive
Mhm.
to keep going. So we're talking about that storyline. I think that helps a lot.
The next one was Tori and Pasha. And again, they hit the rumba and they hit The Greatest Showman, which is one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. So I really, I texted you. I was like, man, I really wish they gave this song to Chandler because I would have loved to see what they could have done with that.
Mhm.
Um, but I was glad because at least Tori like recognized the power of that number and like talking about it with her kids. The thing is, I think she became emotional within the number
Mhm.
and because
Derails.
yeah, and so like she would try to put in more of the emotion and that would take out the technical side where it's a really hard balance of meeting the emotion to the technique of a dance.
Yep.
And that's what makes it a sport, but yet also an art form because you have to combine the two. And it's not very easy. And Tori came from acting, so I think her safety net is more of the emotional side. So she
Mhm.
kind of pulled out, and that's where, you see what she got. And like again, like this is where I question scores because she got a 7 from Carrie Ann, but Jen got a 6, where I think Jen was technically better in her dance, but I did feel bad that Tori got eliminated.
Yep.
Um, just because like you could tell she truly enjoyed it. And
Mhm.
like that's what the show is about, I
Right.
feel like. But it's hard because out of this
Somebody's got to
cast,
go.
there was only really one person that I really wanted out, and we already talked about them.
Right.
Everybody else, it's going to be hard to say goodbye to.
Every week is going to be tough. Yeah, because I mean, it is. It's a really good bunch. It's a good bunch of people that are already showing improvement. It's not like we saw a dip. We didn't see anybody that did much worse than they did the first week, where you're like, oh man, like, no.
Right.
We didn't see any of that. And sometimes we do. It's a really good bunch. So it's gonna be tough week after week. So somebody's gotta be first. And I agree with you. I'm sad that it was Tori, but that's how it goes.
Yep.
It's crummy, but that's how it goes.
Dwight and Daniela,
La
uh,
La Land.
yeah, and they hit a foxtrot.
Yep.
Like they had to definitely totally adapt the frame to their height. Uh, excuse me. But I think if like they had a pro that was his height, like you would see just how strong he was in that sense too.
Hmm.
Carrie Ann, I think it was Carrie Ann, I could be wrong. One of the judges said they wanted more body contact.
Just doesn't
Oh,
doesn't make any sense.
I don't get it. Like how Daniela's doing it is like incredible, but I don't. Daniela's like waist is at his knees. So like
Yeah, I
I,
know. You got to give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit. They're doing the best that they can, and I think it was a fantastic adaptation. Even so, he was not hunched over in order to get to her. He still remained up, and
yeah,
like the way he needed to, like that in and of itself had to be so hard,
exactly.
right? I mean, really,
Yeah. And he just seems like he's having like so much fun with
so much
this too.
fun. I
Like
love watching him.
and like I think that's what makes it fun to watch. When somebody is having fun, you want to join in on the fun.
Yep.
So like, yeah.
Yeah. I would say the only other thing with him is just watching that basketball hand, that spider hand, right? Because it's a basketball hand on the lifts. Like anytime there's a lift, anytime that other hand is doing something, just making sure that it is at least closed. But welcome to basketball hands, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, but really, I mean, he's I wasn't sure about the height difference. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but man, he's doing really pretty well. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see more.
Yeah. Then we had Brooks and Gleb with the quick step. This was an interesting adaptation to that song. Like they did a whole ballet theme. You can tell she has ballet training, like she did a nice porter bra and everything with that. But like a quick step, you're normally in holds for a
Yeah.
while. And like they kept breaking the hold in and out. And like I if Len was there, I could just hear
You
him
could just
saying,
hear him.
"You broke hold multiple times, Gleb. That's against like like you know what I mean? Like,
But I feel like Gleb has always been like that. He's
yeah.
always choreographed differently than what the rules are. Like I literally can hear Len yelling at him every
Hmm.
chance he got for doing things different. But nonetheless, I feel like it worked when they were in hold, and then when they were out of hold, it was just weird and
It's just,
lost time. And
and I get that they tried to tell like a story, but there was a lot of running when they were out of hold, and like it
yeah,
just, to me, this didn't fit very well.
I agree.
And like her spins were a little wonky. I felt like it's weird because like when you're ballet trained, you're trained very differently, where like ballroom, it's all like 90-degree angle spinning to keep you fast and tucked in. So like I know like that's a whole nother thing too, but
Yeah, it didn't work. I mean, I'm excited to see the next one, but yeah, yeah, it just didn't really work.
it just didn't fit for me.
No.
But like she's good. Like you can tell she
Yes,
is doing
that's
well, and
that's what I'm saying. I'm excited
yeah,
to see more,
exactly.
but that just didn't work.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Then we hit the last one, Ilona and Alan. Huge improvement. Like I think she has the most improved for me, like from
Totally
last
agree.
week to this week. And also the fact that Alan put a story to it, it made it fun and memorable. I re I do have to say, I am anytime they pull out the song from Dirty Dancing, it makes me think of Bindi and Derek, like when they did the full lift. And like I just remember watching it the first time with that. And like they are a very special partner to me because like I got to meet both Bindi and Derek during that season. And so like and like see them at this rehearsal studio and at the actual like show when they filmed. But like I remember watching when they did the lift and like Tarek's hands just shaking. So like I like you could tell Alan made it purposely different, purposely fun. I loved the twist with this, where Ilona then like after they did the version of his lift, then Ilona did a lift with Alan, and like it was perfect. Like it was just a lot of fun and it made it memorable because of the story
Yeah.
piece of it.
Right. But
Um,
also, like, that's what everybody was teasing was gonna happen. Like,
right.
how many people teased her that, because she is so muscular. She is, just so masculine in the upper part of her body, right? That the big joke was that she was gonna obviously only lift Alan and not vice versa. And we know that that's not fair because we know Alan is strong and we know Alona is strong. So the switching back and forth, this was the perfect opportunity to throw everybody off and just prove the strength of both of these individuals and how fun it can be together, and how they you can clearly tell they're just having fun together, and I loved every second of
I
this
like their
dance.
partnership. Like you
I
can
do.
tell, like again, she's enjoying it. And like she posted a video like from the first week where like somebody was just recording her just practicing her dance steps. And she's like in a different location in her work business suit, actually just running through it. Like she is practicing, she's taking it seriously. And also helps too that she's an athlete that is used to that routine and practice.
Yep.
Where I don't think every person has that
No, definitely not.
discipline in them. But yeah,
Just a lot of fun. A lot of fun. If you watch any clips
it
from this week, watch that one. It was really, really pure fun.
was very memorable too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And
So,
that, and
hey,
that brings us to the end.
another week done.
I know.
It's wild.
And then see, night one is Soul Train night for next week. And
Yes.
then we have Hair Metal night for night two. So that'll be fun.
Definitely different. That's for sure. But
I
that's okay. We're ready
am
to try different. Let's do it.
I'm really excited for the costumes for the hair metal night.
Right. Oh
Rock.
man. can't wait to see them. You know, I mean, I think the costuming department is kind of taking things in a little bit of a different route this year. You know, they're trying some different things,
Which
and
I like because you don't see
I
the
do too.
same thing every time. So it's a
Definitely.
little bit different and it's fun and you
Yeah.
get that creativity to it.
Right. I like it. It like I said, it's kind of refreshing to see different styles, different color combinations, different
Okay,
outfits
the
and
only thing that I
designs.
have to say that you pointed out to me and it really bothered me was the very like Sasha and Jen's dance. I loved it, but their two pinks were not the same color and they were clashing so
It was
bad.
so bad. It was so bad. I think it was because the gemstones on her outfit, I think, were supposed to be a different pink. And I think maybe under a certain light, they were the same pink that he was wearing. But under the fluorescent lights on the floor, they were totally washed out. And it just did not work. Just didn't.
The dance worked, but the costume did.
It's just it bothers me so much. But nonetheless, I still like I'm not talking about the costuming department because they work their tails off to make these outfits be different.
Absolutely, because they have to do all of them in 1 week.
Uh-huh. But those colors, like I said, I think maybe that was the look of it was supposed to be those gemstones. Um
And not
Under the
every single
light.
costume is going to be a home run every time.
No, they're not. No, they're not. And we've seen costumes break. We've seen costumes fall apart. I mean, it
It
just happens.
happens.
It happens. But I love that they're trying different things. I love that we're getting different styles and different outfit looks. So yeah, so that's refreshing. But yeah, that one just didn't work.
Alicia literally texted me during the show, costumes clashing, like right at the beginning when they announced it. It was like the
The
running.
second they walked down the stairs, I was like, what is that outfit? Those do not match.
Well, guys, we hope your outfits match this week. And we will see you not next week, but the week after when Dancing with the Stars returns.
Yes, very good. Take care, everyone.
Bye.